Hey folks, today we're covering Tinto Flavor 13, and this week Pavia's going to be talking to us about Saxony, a lot more about the build-up to actually becoming Saxony, as you will see during this dev diary. And then also, if you missed it yesterday, I covered the recent HRE dev diary that Pavia also did. So if you're very interested in Germany, a lot of content this week. At the beginning here, he does mention this later on, but they actually recommend for you to play as the county of Meissen if you are going to look to want to play the Saxony-related content. So at the beginning here, you can see like the intro text for this county, really setting up how they find themselves at the start of the game inside the Holy Roman Empire, a bit of Bohemian shenanigans, and a bunch of other stuff you can get up to during your campaigns. The next screenshot is the graphical version of this. You can see the county of Meissen, the flag as well. Now that's actually changed from the previous dev diary, so it looks like they've done some more work to the UI. As always, Pavia pointing out, all the graphical side of this is work in progress. And obviously there will be some balancing around the numbers as well that you see today. But as you can see, the flag, it's got that border now. I think that looks a lot better than previous weeks where the flag was kind of just hanging there. I think it looks good with a kind of portrait border there a little bit. I do like how that looks. And you can see here the count that you will play as if you do play as these at the beginning. You can see in the next screenshot the lands of Meissen and its neighbouring county Landsberg. That is again how you will find yourself at the start of the game. Meissen starts with a semi-unique government reform that only a few counties in the HRE have. So again, if you listen to the previous dev diary, they went into a general overlook on how the HRE works. So this is a government reform that you get specific to this area, although not specific just to this county. And you can see this on the screen now. It gives monthly progress to defensive, noble, estate satisfaction equilibrium, and army maintenance reduction as well by 5%. So a pretty good set of bonuses there. And this is really set up because your realm is on the border of the HRE. And I guess it's to really help you kind of be that bulwark against other people coming in and trying to take yourself or other HRE counties for themselves. On top of that, there are also some unique estate privileges for the German culture. The first one here being right to inherit, an estate privilege, as I just said. You can see the modifiers at the top, and the other modifiers that it gives is monthly progress to aristocracy, 0.10, and then stability investment costs, minus 20%. That's quite a decent reduction there for the stability cost. And then right to inherit, implementation status, plus 100%. Don't know what that means, but it does give that modifier as well. The next one is the Magdeburg rights, another estate privilege. This gives the following modifiers: trade capacity plus 10%, a decent amount here. This is a burger-related estate privilege. Next is a unique policy that is available to German counties, and this is all around mining laws. This will give the modifiers of expand mining costs minus 20% and founding town cost minus 20%. So if you want to focus into some mining, if you've got a lot of, areas that are going to give you a good return for that, you could pick up this policy and it will make that mining cost cheaper, and it also makes founding towns cheaper. You will probably need the towns for population to work in the mines. I guess it kind of synergizes that a little bit there. Next is some works of art. The first one being the Sachsenspiegel, definitely how you pronounce it, a magnum opus, which was created in 1235. And you can see here, it is a magnus opus, as I just said, is a chronicle. And this was a compilation of traditional customary law and rulings all over the HRE. It is one of the most important compilations of laws of the empire, as well as the first to be in German rather than Latin. Does sound very important. I'm not from Germany. I've never heard of this before, but I guess any German viewers, you can let me know in the comments down below. It sounds like this could be up there with like Magna Carta or something like that, I guess, but a very important document in this area of the world. Next, they're going to talk about advances, and these are some unique ones for the Meissen Saxony area of the game. The first one, the Meiben Lion, definitely how you pronounce it, available in the Age of Traditions, and this just gives crown power plus 10%. So really increasing the crown's power there. I was going to say your power. You're not really playing as the king, but I think you know what I mean. The next one is the Meibergroschen, definitely how you pronounce it. Age of Renaissance, income from minting 10%. So that's going to help you have a little bit more money in your realm. The next one, the Saxon Court, available in the Age of Discovery. Efficiency of our cabinet 10%. Again, that is going to help you doing whatever your cabinet is doing. We already know there's a bunch of different things your cabinet can do for you, and that just makes it that little bit better. The next one, I'm not going to butcher the name of. This is available in the Age of Reformation. Monthly literacy 0.02. Doesn't sound like a lot, but we know that literacy affects quite a few areas of the game. So this will be one you'll probably pick up and get that literacy moving that little bit faster. The next one is the Meisner Porcelain. This is available in the Age of Absolutism. Monthly prestige 0.10. porcelain output 20% better. Saxony is the first European producer of porcelain, which will bring wealth and prestige to the Witten court. This area very famous for porcelain. I didn't actually know that until I googled it before I recorded this video in an unrelated reason, and porcelain came up as the top result, and I got stuck down one of those rabbit holes on Google. But yeah, a lot of famous porcelain here, and that is going to be showcased in the game as well. So that is the structural content coming for the Saxony area of the game. Next, they're going to talk about the events and the usual kind of things that Pavia talks about in these dev diaries. So early on, this event will pop up for us, the acquisition of Landsberg. You can see the two characters here, Margus von Welf and the Countess Sophie. I think that is one of the first female character portraits. I know we've seen one or two here or there, but we haven't seen one for a while. And we can see there the ruler of Landsberg. Consort Magnus, the pious von Welf, inherited the county of Landsberg after his marriage to the Countess and wants to sell it to us. Okay, going to sell it to us. The land belongs to us, or it was sold for a reason. The land belongs to us. That will give us the following. It will cost you 12 gold. You will annex Landsberg, and all the areas of that land will become cored to Meissen. So you will get kind of full control over those if you do that. And then as you can see in the next map, this is what will happen if you do that. I can't see why you wouldn't do it, but I guess you might not want to do it for whatever reason. And you can see a lot of expansion there by this county. Next is another event that might pop up, a gift from the Emperor. The Holy Roman Emperor and the father-in-law of our ruler has sent us a generous reward for our service in Brandenburg. So I guess you're going to get some rewards here. Add it to the treasury. Let us mint a new coin, and in the next screenshot we're going to see what that is. That actually gives you trade efficiency 0.5%. The new coin improves the economy of Meissen, facilitating transactions and smoothing the transfer of capital. So a nice little bonus there if you do want to pick this up. The second option, which is this one, is actually an alt history option. So I guess they never ended up doing this historically, but it was, I guess, something that could have happened in the past. One thing I will say, and you'll see this in the next couple of screenshots as well, I think they have done a pass on the UI. We've talked about this in nearly all the dev diaries, that the UI was looking a little bit ropey, didn't look that good. But as you can see through all these screenshots, I think they've done a pass on it. It just looks a little bit more refined now, especially the backgrounds and how things look. Once we get to the buildings, there's something else I'll point out as well. But next is going to show off some late game events and a very fitting one for a Saxony playthrough. And this is Johann Bach. He was a virtuous composer. I think some of us would have heard of this guy. And you can pick him up, bring him to your court, or we could say, not interested in Bach, go somewhere else. Go back to wherever you came from, I guess you could say. The next event is called the Zwinger. After observing the magnificence of the palaces that some rulers across the continent have built, our ruler has toyed with the idea of starting his own project. So you can do this for the glory, or you can decide another palace. Like, who's interested in doing that? If you do decide to build it, though, you can see here the Zwinger, and this gives you noble powers plus 5%, but also gives you cultural tradition 0.25 and cultural influence 0.25 in this location. Now, this is again where I can see a little bit of a change here. So you can see the required production method. That was a list similar to the construction you can see previously, but it looks like they've combined it into one line. It actually nicely reduces the size of some of these tooltips. As we've seen across all these dev diaries, some of these tooltips are pretty big. And I think I like how this has been kind of rectified a little bit here. I almost feel like the construction part should be the same, but I guess because you would be building it, they kind of want to emphasize the construction cost first rather than the production method. But I do like this. It does reduce the size of some of these tooltips, which do get pretty sizable. And then last but not least, there is the possibility of unifying the Saxonian region into a proper country tag, and that is the Form Saxony. Saxony is a tier 1 formable country, and if you meet the requirements for this, you can found Saxony and have a whole new realm and get up to all kind of shenanigans there. And that is the end of the dev diary this week. Another good look at another area of the world. One thing I will say, and that is going to be covered in the next bit here, is that it looks like every week they're almost going to focus in a certain area of the game. So this week we have the HRE, Saxony. Next week, he says on Wednesday, they're going to be talking about the Catholic Church and the Catholic religion, which we already knew about. But then next Thursday, instead of Friday, because it's a holiday in Spain on Friday, next Thursday, they're going to talk about the Papal State. So again, we've had the HRE and Saxony this week. Next week, we're getting the Catholic Church and the Papal States. So I wonder if we're going to keep that kind of cadence where every week is focused in a certain area. Anyway, we'll find out as we continue with these each week. Let me know what you think about this week's Dev Diary. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm covering this game up to official announcement, launch and beyond. And I also cover Crusader Kings 3 in a very similar manner. But we'll leave it there for today, and I'll see you all next time.